So again, I've got the link embedded for the presentation. We are going to answer these first 3 questions today during class. You're going to type in your answer, and then hopefully some people will share theirs out as well. And we're going to do 2 sketches today that then you'll add to under here. And then why do artists follow or break from established traditions? Okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. What do you think? And I just want to know what you think, and I'm going to have you write that in. Why? So, Jude, we're on week 11, Cubism. Filling out some questions as we go through the presentation today. To create something different, yes. So they would break from tradition to create something different, right? Why would they follow tradition? Lena wrote, to show that there's no limit or boundary in art. Yeah. Yeah, it's more fun to break tradition, right? It's more fun to break the rules, but everyone learns how to be realistic. Everyone learns how to do things the way that they've always been done. Okay, so that could get boring after a while. But you got to know how to do both. Yeah. Why do you think they don't follow it, Deja?
Because something might be too plain, simple, or it's not their style.
Yeah, yeah. And if everyone knows how to do it, then sometimes artists think, like, what's the point? You know, what's the point of being the same as everyone else? And Mercy said, because if they're doing a certain style, they want to add their own touch to their artwork. Yeah, you want it to stand out. But Picasso has a quote that I'm probably mangling a little bit, but that you have to know the rules to break them, and that's one reason why everyone learns how to do it this way. But then you know what to do to break. You can go against it later. Okay, so hopefully you have your answer written in. Again, there's no right or wrong. I just want to know what you think. So today what's going to happen is you're going to do 2 drawings. I'm going to talk to you about the first one, and then you'll do that, and then I'll talk to you about the second one. Then on Wednesday, you're going to do a 3rd drawing. Normally, this is the assignment, and you work on 1 drawing per class, and you make it final. But today, you're just doing 1 sketch for each of the 2 different things. If you choose to do this for your final, then you'll be making some final drawings. Okay. So today they can be colored, but they don't have to be. They're just sketches. Okay. So the first sketch that you're going to make today is a realistic cartoon self-portrait. Okay. But we're only sticking with head, neck, and maybe shoulders. Okay. Deja, did you have something else to say? Or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. So what I have here for you, has anybody read or read Mo Willems' books?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. As a parent who's had to read lots of books, they are not all created equal. Many children's books are super annoying, like those Eric Carle ones. Ugh, I hate them. Many I've had to accidentally lose in the trash can. Don't tell my kids. Mo Willems' books, though, are fantastic. So what I wanted to show you was this is realistic Mo Willems, right? Because it's a photograph of him. So obviously it's a realistic Mo Willems. Here he's got a beard, but if we just look at his hair, see how his hair has all the little strands of hair because it's a photo, okay? But if we did a realistic drawing of him, it would have all of the strands of hair too, okay? But cartoon Mo Willems, okay, it's simplified. His hair is just a shape, okay? His eyes are on the glasses because that's how people draw people with glasses in cartoons, okay? It's just simplified. There's no shading. It's just a line drawing. This one happens to be colored in, okay? This here is another example. We have a realistic pigeon. And we have Cartoon Pigeon from Don't Let That Pigeon Drive the Bus because he's going to crash it. Deja, did you have a question?
I had a question, but it wasn't about this.
Oh, is it about this project? What is it?
About the thing we started. Well, we had to do on Friday.
The artist project?
No.
Or the Pictionary?
The artist project.
Oh, okay. How about you can ask me in the next drawing break? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So realistic pigeon has all of these details on like its neck, and over here Mo Willems just simplified it to this line. Okay. They both have big beady eyes, but actually realistic pigeon's eye is kind of creepy because it's red. And pigeon's eye is kind of cute because he's cute. The wing is just simplified to this line. It doesn't have all the feather details. It doesn't have the color details. Okay. So all you're doing then is you're going to simplify it down it should resemble you. Okay. But it's not going to be a realistic drawing of you. Okay. It's going to be more like a caricature of you. Okay. For some reason, last hour, this was blurry. So I'm going to see if I can refresh it and have it come in better. Otherwise, I'll just show you the second part of it. So the difference in this video is that we were doing this in class. Okay. So I was having people do 3 sketches and then a final. You guys are only doing just 1 sketch today. And then if you decide to do this as your final, you'll do final drawings of each of the drawings. You'll do a final one and then color it in, but not today. I have a side view. Okay. Mine just happens to be a side view. And actually, they look cooler when they're all front views. But if you choose to do a side view for your final, then you'd want to do all the same view. So I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to do a sketch. Remember, it's just a sketch. Okay. Now we're back on that other sheet, right? In the next part of the presentation, you're going to be able to answer then these 2 questions. What artist is best known for starting Cubist style, and then list some ways to make artwork Cubist. Okay. So that's where you should be on the sheet. So any guesses as to who the artist is that's best known for starting Cubism? Anyone have a guess? Thank you, Cal. Yes, Pablo Picasso. You even knew his first name. That's good. So just like with any art style, okay, there's a range from realistic to extra abstract. Okay, so this is a self-portrait of Pablo Picasso, and that's more on the realistic side. Okay, and then so that's more, it looks like him. It's more of a caricature, but it looks like him. You could totally pick him out. And then this over here is more on the way abstract side. Okay. So if we start with the self-portrait, Picasso started Cubism after he lived across the street from a gallery that had a bunch of African masks, wooden African masks in the window. So he's looking at that every day, and he's looking at that thinking, what would happen if I painted like that? Okay, so he's not saying that he has a line down his nose or a line down his cheek. What he's saying is if my face was carved out of wood, what would that look like? Okay, so the if I go like this and I've got my hands on each side of my nose is made up of two planes. So two sides, two surface areas. Okay. His nose was kind of, it was a lot wider. Okay. So he had a third plane that went down this way. So that's what he's showing with this line here. Okay. He's showing there's a plane, here's a plane, and then there's one on the other side where it comes down. Okay. Same thing with this line on his cheek. If your cheek was carved out of wood, two planes would come together, and then there would be that line there if it wasn't sanded down. Okay. So one way that you can one way that you can show that something is cubism is by breaking it up into shapes. So he's done that on this one by putting the lines on it. Okay, so you can write that on your sheet. If I go over here, this painting is called Weeping Woman. So we know it's a woman, not a dude hanging out, or, a dude with long hair. Okay. And she's crying. Okay. She's not quietly crying in the corner, though, where you think that maybe she might be crying. She is freaking out. Okay. And we'll see more of that in just a second. But another way to make something cubist is to show different views at the same time. Okay. So he's got these football-ish shaped eyes. Okay. Which means that she's looking right at us. Okay. Just like the Picasso self-portrait. But then if we look down the face, look at this mouth. The lips are here. They connect and the lips are here. So that's a sideways view, okay, of her mouth and her chin. So that's showing two different views at the same time. You guys did this when you were little. If you were asked to draw a picture of your home, place where you live, you would draw all of the things that you liked about it, all being able to see it all at the same time, even if it wasn't realistically possible. Okay. So if I was going to do that when I was 5, I might draw my backyard and my bedroom and my kitchen all visible at the same time, even if that's not realistic. Okay. So right now, the second way to make something cubist is to show different views at the same time. So these football-shaped eyes are looking straight at you, and the mouth and chin are a sideways view. Is that what you missed, Mercy? It's kind of a little kid convention of like showing all the favorite things, even though it's not real. The other way that you can make something cubist, he does in here too. So he does actually all three ways in this painting. So remember, it's called Weeping Woman. This white area here is a handkerchief or a Kleenex that she's holding over her face. Okay. We already saw that she's got the sideways mouth and chin. Okay. These right here, these are noses. Okay. Which means that she's not sitting there quietly sobbing. She's freaking out and moving her head all over the place. Okay. She's crying in a way that if you walked into the room and you saw this woman, you would back out slowly. Okay. Because nothing that you can say to her is going to help. She's freaking out. Okay. So to show that, he's shown movement. She's moving all over the place by having different noses. Okay. So the first way to make something cubist is to break it up into shapes. That's what we've got going here. And with the color, we've got that going on over here too. The second way is to show different views at the same time. So these eyes are looking straight forward and her mouth and chin are to the side. Okay. And the third way then is to show movement. So because he's drawn multiple noses, that means she's moving all around. Okay. I'm gonna move my controls again. This is Picasso doing a light painting. Mr. Johnson talked to you guys about blind contour earlier this trimester, and blind contour automatically makes something cubist because it's disconnected, but it's more the abstract cubist. Light painting is where he's got a little flashlight in his hand. You could do it with glow sticks. We usually do this during class for a day, but we can't do it during COVID because it's in the dark and you're working as a group and touching each other in the dark because you run into each other. Anyways, we can't do it. But it's really fun. But how this works is a camera is opened longer, and there's apps for this now, of course. But the camera is open longer to be able to capture the drawing that he's doing. Okay. And then because of that, it's let in extra light. So he's actually working in a dark room, what it looks like to him, but the camera has sucked in any of that light leakage that's going under the door and kind of replaced it and built it up over time. But that's nice because then we can see his ceramic pottery and things behind him. Picasso was one of the few artists that not only knew how to work in lots of different mediums, because all artists do, but he actually did that. He has work all over the world in different mediums. So ceramics, metal sculptures. He did theater set designs. He did drawings and paintings and collages, and you can see it all over the world in different museums and cities all over. So he's pretty amazing that way. This is an example of what you guys are doing. So you just did a realistic cartoon. If we assume that this bull it's more realistic than it is cartoon, but you did a realistic cartoon of yourself. Okay. This is a realistic bull. His series is about 10 bulls instead of 3. I cut some of them out. What you're going to do next is a cubist self-portrait. Okay. Where you could break it up into shapes. Okay. You could, I'm lagging, so I'm hoping you guys are picking up on this. You could break it up into shapes. You could show different views at the same time, and you could show movement. How could we show movement on this bull here? Does anyone have an idea of how we could do that? You could use like a cartoon convention and kind of adding those lines for wind. What else could you do? So what did Picasso do with the nose? You guys remember? Yeah, he added multiple noses. So for the bull, if he put in like multiple tails or heads or something, then it would look like it's moving there as well. There's a really cool one. I'll see if I can find it that someone more recent did of a drummer, and they're drumming and they have like, I don't know, 50 arms on each side. I mean, it was just crazy cool because you could totally see he was going to town on it. Then on Wednesday, we're going to do more abstract. So more like the Weeping Woman, where we're going to either simplify it more or have it exploded, or, something that's making it more abstract than the second one today. So see how these legs have gotten to be just sticks or just lines. Okay. It's much more simplified. Here's another example. Lena, I know you researched this guy, but I do not like this artist at all. These are the only 3 paintings of these trees that I actually like of his. And the reason is because this is his normal work. And Lena did an amazing job on her mask. You guys voted her best in show. And I want to buy one too. But as a painter, it annoys me when people do stuff like this. When artists do. But at least he's doing more work. There's also artists that would like paint a huge canvas, just one color, like a red canvas. That's all it is. And it's shown in museums that like that's their artwork, and everybody's fine with it. So at least he's doing all these different lines. But anyways, I really like this tree series. So if we take this as the realistic tree, okay, then that's like your realistic cartoon. Okay. Now this would be the cubist one, where the tree is kind of broken up into shapes and the background is too. See how it's just kind of shattered a little bit. Then this one is the one that you'll do on Wednesday where it's exploded. This one, if the tree wasn't in shades of brown and green, you probably wouldn't recognize that it's a tree at all. Okay. I'm going to show you one more example and then the demo video. This is the tattoo on the top of my arm. Okay. I was not meaning to do cubism. It happened by an accident. I started with a photograph of Frida Kahlo. We're going to learn about her next week. I did a painting of her because I'm a painter, so that's what I do. And my style is actually abstract expressionism for painting. I took a photograph of the painting, printed that out, and I traced it off to get a line drawing. And I did about 10 between that tracing and what I actually got tattooed on my arm. How is this cubism, though? What method of making something cubist did I use? Oh, yeah, it's broken up into shapes. Thank you, Mercy. So I've got this line running down, and you can see over here that those lines are actually where the shading changes in my painting. But that ended up making it cubist. Okay. Let me get to the next one. Okay, so the last drawing you're going to do today, and remember you're posting two drawings today. You'll post another one on Wednesday that were just the sketches we're doing during class. Is you're going to do your self-portrait, but breaking it up into shapes. Okay, and this one's much clearer than the other one, so I'm going to... These do need to... they do need to resemble each other. So you don't need to redraw the whole thing. I just sketched the outline. So if you end up doing this as your final, you're going to make sure that you can tell from one to the next drawing that they're progressively getting more abstract. Okay. Not that it's a huge jump and not that it's another version of the same level. Okay. So I talk about that a lot in this, but again, you're only going to do one sketch today. And I'm doing 3. Change that eyebrow into a triangle now instead. Maybe the bottom of my nose becomes a triangle and my mouth becomes a shape like that. So then you're going to do the same thing again 3 times, changing it different ways. With your 3 sketches, they should be variations, but actual changes should be made in them, not you're basically redrawing the same thing again. That's not helping you formulate new ideas. So see, the first time I just did the same kind of hair that I had before. Now I've changed the hair and changed these shapes. Okay, so once you have your 3, you're going to raise your hand and I will give you a new final paper. This time with the final, instead of looking at it to draw your sketch, you can trace it off. Trace this off lightly because you're probably going to end up needing to erase some of it. I'm going to only trace off what I initially drew over here, which was the outline of my head and my hair. So it's going to be basically the same size as the other final. And I think I'm going to actually choose this face, but this hair. So that face, but this way of doing the hair. Okay, so for today, what you have to post in there is just a photograph of your realistic cartoon sketch and then your cubist cartoon sketch. You only have 2 drawings then and they're just sketches that you're posting up. So if I go back here, by the end of the day, you should already have these first 3 questions filled in. But then again, you should post those probably one photo. You can put them in the same photo. Post those here. Don't turn it in because then you won't have access to it for Wednesday. I can see it either way. Deja, did you have a question? Okay. Okay, you should be working on your cubist self-portrait. We are done in about 3 minutes. You're just doing, for today, you're just doing one realistic and one cubist. So what we just did, that is an option for the final. I'll talk more about that on Wednesday. But I wanted to show you, here's another option for the final. This isn't done yet, but you would be doing a self-portrait and breaking it up and making it cubist. I mean, not a self-portrait, a still life. Okay. So I'll talk more about those two options on Wednesday about the requirements for them. Okay, so by the end of the day, you should have those questions answered. You should really have those answered now. And then post the realistic cartoon and the cubist cartoon. They're both self-portraits of yourself, obviously of yourself. Okay,